Alright guys, so Garden of Terror, we have qualifier number 3 for the Murky Cup. So first of all, apologies. Everything that you see on your screen right now, except for the heroes, is actually wrong. So with perfect timing towards the start of the stream, the tool that I use to display all of the graphics and also the names has crapped out and has problems with the login website. I already confirmed that this is not an issue on my end, but it's actually them having server issues or whatnot. I hope they resolve them quickly, because it essentially means that I cannot change the text that is on these overlays. So the matchup we're currently looking at is I don't even know, honestly, because I had to also swap games. Like seriously, this all just literally tumbled down within the last second. We are in the Murky Cup. It is the quarterfinal currently. It's a best of 3 series. In match number 1, we don't have any bounties. There's a bounty system, of course, the Murky Cup. The draft is still real. The heroes that you see here are still totally fine. We have the Enjoyers on the left, and we have the harmless Toddlers on the right, and our map is Garden of Terror. Again, my deepest apologies. I can't do anything about it. I hope that within the next few minutes while we are in the game, they are fixing their server issues and that everything works then again, because if not, I have to find some kind of ad hoc solution. I'm currently on my new PC as well, so all of the traditional tools that I would use here, and these players don't know that they can't do bounties here. This has been a problem in the last 2 qualifiers. I don't understand why this is so difficult, because we've told them many times the info is there, but they seem to think that they can actually complete a bounty in this game. So, yeah. Once that we're heading into the next map, maybe I'll just do some text overlays and something and tumble it together. Again, usually I have some graphics I could use for that, but I am on my new PC, so all of these things on my old setup. We're heading into Garden of Terror. It is our first map. Again, on the left we have the Enjoyers, and on the right we have the harmless Toddlers, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 1, Murky Cup qualifier number 3. We're in the quarterfinals. Alright, good news everybody. Seems like while we're loading into the game, they fixed their stuff, so now we have proper overlays again. On the left in blue, the Enjoyers. We have currently an interesting combo here, because we're running twice on Uther, Lavakal on Zarya, Ether's playing an auto attack Vala, and we have Itrax on Zul and Alvaros on Azmodan. Over on the right side of the map, it is the harmless Toddlers, as already announced. Now also here in white on black, we have Player on the Haka, Orchid on Jaina, Dismiss on Brightwing, Vapress on Anubrak, and Shadowsong is playing a Falstad. So, again, you gotta read the fine print. As I already said, I am 100% certain that the blue team is completely unaware that they cannot complete bounties in the quarterfinals. Now, in case you guys are a little bit surprised by this, and you're like, wait a second, Khaldor, wait a second. Why exactly can they not do this? Well, it's actually pretty easy. The point is very simply that we decided a while ago that when we are playing a qualifier setup, that we are not dealing with bounties in the early rounds. If you compare it to the Banshee Cup, where we already had a bounty system, for example, we had during the Banshee Cup qualifiers no bounties allowed. They only kicked in during the playoffs. For the Murky Cup here, we decided to change things a little bit and give teams the opportunity to complete bounties already in the qualifiers, but we made the little caveat that it's only happening from the semifinals onwards. The reason being very simple. If you have a lot of teams signing up, and there's, let's say, a couple of amateur teams that just want to play there for fun and are being completely outclassed by the top teams, then we wanted to ensure that teams are not getting bounties for free. So that's basically the idea behind it. We wanted to still keep it fair, but we wanted to still allow teams, at least in the later rounds of the qualifiers, to give them the opportunity to get some bounties, and that's basically what's going on here. So unless this is the idea of like, hey, we are going to now train a little bit with our Azmodan combo for the later rounds and see what we can do, then they might not have read the rules properly and seen the information that we threw out on Discord in the adequate channels. Obviously, the Enjoyers, as a team that participated in the tournament over many years with quite nice success, is the favorite here, going up against the harmless Toddlers, who so far are a little bit harmless. We haven't seen a single kill yet, but that bottom wall is still getting destroyed. So, yeah, they're going to absolutely crush that bot lane, where they are farming through with Zarya as we speak. So, the Enjoyers currently definitely in the driver's seat. But pretty cool also to have some new teams signing up for the qualifier there. I'm always happy when we get that. Again, these qualifiers, most of them are open to any team that wants to participate. We have a qualifier on Wednesday, we have one on Saturday, so teams can be participating in those as they are available, so flexibility is pretty big for us just in general. But now we have Vapors jumping in with an Uberak and trying to make his move here. Fort is already down, and they're getting the first kill. They're taking Jaina out too. So that bot lane pressure play that we're seeing from the Enjoyers is pretty successful there. With that, we're now having all the way up at the top. Still the action with play and with player and with dismiss. So double global they're currently running. The third one in the middle. They are hoping to get some macro game action going on, as it seems. Shadow Song is being pressured back by Zul a bit. So wave clear is really something on those side lanes that the Enjoyers heavily emphasize with this push. And it's kind of funny that they're still pushing at the bottom of the map, so they're not even trying to make any plays over on the side lane. By the way, all of this also meant that Asmodan had to solo stack his level 1 in his baseline, so he's only sitting at 36 at this point. We're seeing the 4-man come in. Fawcett is also coming. There should be a few heroes dead here, right? I mean, they're going for full-on 5 versus 3, so that retreat after they delve that deep into enemy territory should actually cost them at least a hero or two. So far, that hasn't really happened. There's the kill on Uther, though. But Falstad has also fallen. That's also a little bit of a problem for them. Falstad is down, but so is, in this case... Ooh, in this case, Jaina and an Uberak. So that's 3 kills now against the Toddlers. And, yep, they are suffering. Not only are they suffering at the bot lane, but they're also losing more structures at the top, as we now have Alvaros moving in and trying to make his move here, too. So, yeah, Falstad flies in. Tries to push him back, but that doesn't change the fact that the wall is gone and the fort is down to 50% of its HP. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's pretty tough for them right now to deal with the situation that they're facing off against, and I'm not quite sure what exactly they are going to do to try and bring this back. Because they're also falling behind in experience in just another moment. It's not going to take too long for the team in blue to get their level 10 abilities. And once that's the case, the situation here is going to get a little bit worse. So, yeah, they're trying to still go for the seeds. Not a single one has been confirmed yet, so nobody has gone for seeds up to this point. But here comes the dive on Asmodan, and he's murdered. Yeah, but level 10 is now ready. That's a 1.5 level lead, and the blue team is immediately moving down to the bottom of the map again. They're just single-minded when it comes to the lane pressure. They're really just driving the train here. And look at the timestamp. We are 5 minutes into the game, and at the 5-minute mark, they're already more than nibbling at the keep. They're about to take it down. So they're absolutely destroying it. I gotta give it, though, to the Toddlers. I mean, good for them to participate here. Always nice to have new teams signing up. And again, if you're a Heroes Lounge team, for example, you want to have some fun and go up against some of the top teams, then hey, by all means, sign up for some of the qualifiers. And you might get casted in the first round, too. The Enjoyers, they do what they're supposed to. They're just going for gold here. They're starting to push them at the bottom of the map, and they're trying to go for core. Death timers are essentially non-existent at this point in time, but they think they can pull this off. They got Asmodan here too, and he's already getting some extra damage in. I think in this situation, he would have loved to go for the Demonic Invasion, but apparently a record is on hand. And Demonic Invasion could still be used. Is on cooldown for a bit longer, but the core is down to 73%. And Uberak is down, Jaina is down. Another quest reward for Vala. And that seems like it's going to be game. Garden of Terror, ladies and gentlemen. 6 minutes and 20 seconds as the Enjoyers take the 1-0 in the best of 3. GG.
Before we head into game number 2, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet, so you don't miss out on any future content here on Khaldor TV.
Let's start with the good news. We have overlays. Battlefield of Eternity, map number 2. We have a bit of a speed run here. The harmless toddler slightly overwhelmed on the first map. By the way, double check with the Enjoyers if they are aware that they can't lock in bounties in the quarterfinals. And they knew. Lavakal was just laughing and was just like, yeah, don't worry. We read the rules. I was like, okay, thank you. So yes, the Enjoyers are fully aware that they couldn't get an Asmodan bounty on the last map. So they are just here to have a little bit of fun too. Now, things are obviously going pretty well for them. But as I said, shout out to the Toddlers. I honestly am always a bit sad when we have open qualifiers like we have with this tournament and we don't have a lot of teams signing up. Now don't get me wrong. Obviously when you sign up as a lower level team or mid-tier team, you are unlikely to make it in the playoffs. There's a chance that you do, given that we have this many qualifiers, and you kind of get rewarded as well by just participating. But I'm not really used to that. Team sports, yeah, like, okay. But if you look at, for example, RTS in the days of old, I mean, the biggest plebs would sign up because your goal is to, first of all, gain some experience, to see what happens in a competitive environment, and also to have the chance to play against some of the top players. Heroes of the Storm, I gotta say, I was always a bit surprised that this isn't really the same philosophy that applies here. So, personally, always very happy when we see some teams that are just here to try things out, see what they can do. So big shout out to the Toddlers here. Definitely appreciate that from them. So yeah, nicely done. But okay, either way, as we're now heading into this, we have the early picks, immediately Greymane and Lucio. Obviously with Jimmy as a first pick, it seems like the team in red is trying to focus onto the Immortal. Hanzo has been banned. Now Vala has obviously already played on the previous map. We still have the draft rule in place for the Murky Cup that you can only play hero once within a series. So Vala isn't available any longer to be played with an arrow build here. But you could also still go for Li Ming. Chromie is still available. You could go Sergeant Hammer. So there's a fair amount of damage dealers still on Battlefield of Eternity. Is usually fairly decent. Now, Blaze is getting eliminated, so we have frontliners and side laners currently targeted very heavily in the ban pattern from the Enjoyers. Greymane also a hero that will allow them to not only go for the Immortal but also for structures. So they have a couple of tools here that could really allow them to not only go for hero kills but also try and go for a pretty quick game again. And given the way that they finished off game number 1, I am curious what exactly the idea is going to be for this one. So we get Garrosh. Keep in mind, Zarya has been played and can't be used. We're not going to get Speedcar Garrosh with the follow-up afterwards. But I still expect a little bit of an X-Factor here. They go Alarak. Alright, so they go for Alarak. We got Garrosh together with that. Greymane is in the house. Has a lot of potential damage and some really nice comps that they can execute with the CC that are running here. Notably with Alarak, of course. Anduin on the other side for the big pullout. We have Muradin, so could even go into Light Bomb engage with that. Genji still up, so he's someone that could be chosen too by the Toddlers to prove that they're not all that harmless. Sorry, hiccups. Always assuming they're getting 2 heroic abilities. Imperius and Gul'dan. Stuns and more AoE. More mage damage now too. So, with that, we're already done for the red team. What is Itrex going to lock in for his team now? Alarak on the side lane is a possibility. You can run him in the 4-man as well, always assuming the traditional 1-4 split on the 2 lanes here in Battlefield of Eternity. But as we're heading into game number 2 of the best of 3 series here at the quarterfinal, our final pick is Illidan. Illidan, Greymane, and Alarak. Alright boys, let's go. Battlefield of Eternity, our second map between the harmless Toddlers and the Enjoyers. Game number 2, the Enjoyers, ladies and gentlemen, in blue on the left side with Lavakal on Garrosh. We have Ether on Illidan, Alvaros on Alarak, Itrex on Greymane, and Twice is playing Nubarak in game number 2. Now they went for an absolute speed record in game number 1, 6.5 minutes, less than 6.5 minutes. Now that we're in Battlefield of Eternity, let's see what the Toddlers can pull off. On the right side, we have them in red with Player on Imperius. Dismiss is playing Anduin. Orchid on Reyna. We got Shadow Song on Gul'dan. And Vaporous is playing Muradin. Exterminator, obviously, as the level 1 talent. No stacking for Alarak. So we're not going to get the Extended Lightning here. We have the Overwhelming Power instead. So negatively charged will not kick in on level 4. A little bit sad about that. But with Illidan now sitting on the side lane, we'll keep an eye on the bottom of the map to see how exactly the team is going to deal with that bot lane. Now obviously it is our 4-1 split as we already expected. That means that Imperius is now going up at the top lane against Illidan. Quick pull as Muradin finds himself in trouble already very early on in the game. Yeah, it was definitely in danger. to become first blood here. Gul'dan has gone into Echoed Corruption, so we're going to get the traditional build from him with the Ruinous Affliction follow-up on 16. Khaldor is coming in, and they get the kill. Gul'dan goes down. Garrosh sets the kill up for the team. And now Greymane is immediately on the first structure as they're trying to go through the tower and the wall here. So big aggression already from the beginning from the blue team. And I mean, that is obviously what they need to do here, right? They know that they're the favorites. They're up against an opponent that is not quite on the same level. So they try and snowball the game from the beginning. Keep the pressure on. Put them into a position where they won't be able to easily recover from the spot that they're in here. And this is exactly how you should try and play that when you are in a superior spot. Now, all the way up at the top, Ether against Player still needs to be a bit careful on this. And make sure that he doesn't overextend here. Illidan, more so a hero that scales in the late game. Murden goes down on the left side. He got caught on the wrong side of the map a bit. As at the bottom, we now have the attack continuing. This time with not the siege giant, but a mercenary camp that they locked in. First tower already about to go down. Second one is falling. So structurally, lots and lots of damage done here by the blue team as they are aiming to not only take control of this game and the map, but decide the entire series quickly in their favor. It's 2 kills to 0. Top side, Illidan still playing it out against, Imperius, but was a pretty neat attack. The connect not quite enough to get a kill. But Illidan is definitely playing it on the line. Ah, the assistance. That's unfair. Look at that. Not respecting the 1v1. That's just not okay. No. That's not okay. The player on Imperius was all in on the idea that this would be a fair fight, but it's none of that. Instead, we have reinforcements coming in, and he just dodged the 1v1. That's kind of sad. So, yeah, as that happens, we now have 3 kills to 0. The leading experience has already been extended as we have the first objective kicking in. So, right now we're talking about Immortal #1. Illidan still pushing up at the top. But yeah, Illidan not respecting the 1v1 scenario. It's a little bit disappointing. That's usually Abathur's domain, but apparently Illidan is quite fond of that strategy as well. The halftime show is already over, and you can tell that the red team is a bit intimidated. And I'm just gonna say, from the beginning, this is a very good showcasing also of what happens when you put a team that plays in regular tournaments up against someone that is more... that's newer to the competitive environment and scene. There's always the comments that kick in on Twitch and YouTube where people are like, oh my god, these people are so bad, like I could easily take them down. It's not all that easy when you actually try it. People tend to forget that what they experience in Storm League has absolutely nothing to do with an actual competitive environment. And at least the Toddlers are experiencing this currently firsthand. So with 5 kills to 0, the Enjoyers are now on the move. And the red team is throwing everything against them that they have. But they're already trailing with an entire talent. And they're losing Imperius too. So the fight pushed between the keep and the fort as the Immortal is now moving in with essentially a full shield. The fort instantly gone. Gul'dan is down at the bottom of the map, hoping to get the team the half level they need to get 2 level 7 talents. But we're not quite there yet. So this is where... Jimmy dying too is bad. This is where the blue team is going to try and use the opportunity to push this towards the keep itself and take the whole thing down. And this is looking pretty bad for the red team. They're going up in the first round against the Enjoyers here, and they're trying to do what they can, but it's tough. This is the keep gone. We're only 5 minutes in, and it seems like the red team wants to go for a full-on quickie. Game number 1 was pretty good for me. I don't know how it was for you, but apparently we're going to get a similar performance here in game number 2 as well. Big push. Jimmy is down again. Death timers are non-existent, but who cares? They're going from one kill to another, and this seems like it's going to be it. Big shout out to the Toddlers. Thanks for participating. The Enjoyers with a 2-0 victory. An absolute shorty. 5 minutes and 30 seconds as they lock in another W on Battlefield of Eternity.
Thank you everybody for watching the video today. I hope that you enjoyed the show and the commentary. And keep in mind that the spoiler protection that is going to run for the rest of the video is made possible by all the support on patreon.com. So guys, if you want to support my work, if you want to help me start new projects and keep the spoiler protection in place, please consider heading over to patreon.com/Khaldor. There's also a link in the YouTube description, and check that out. Thanks in advance, and see you guys next time with more esports coverage here on Khaldor TV. Have a great day.